Right. 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 It's just a matter of, being reasonable. Yeah. Right. Right. And well, and as she said, there's nothing that's an absolute, you can't have it. So, yeah. Right. You have to watch how much. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Yeah. Right. Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Your primaries today, Mom?
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
And since I'm an independent, I could vote in either primary.
Sherry and Pastor Stephen. So I'm going to lay the phone down. Okay. Yep. Yeah. She was, Pastor Stephen asked her about, apparently they have got their primary today. So she voted.
Yes.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm laying the phone down, Susie. I'll put you on speaker.
I'm guessing that you voted in the Republican primary since the Democrat primary means nothing.
That's right. I did.
Yeah, we can vote in either one anyway, or both.
Well, we
We
can't.
voted both.
You can't vote in both. You gotta, yeah.
Mm-mm.
You can vote in one or the other.
Oh,
And
I
if
didn't-
there's a runoff, I can only vote in the Republican primary because I voted the first time in the Republican primary.
Yeah. Same rules here.
well, yeah. Although they actually had on our ballot to and I don't know what the outcome was, and I guess it was whether we could register under a party. Was that basically what it was doing?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because we don't register for a party in South Carolina. We're just
Hmm.
voters.
We're just registered.
I think that's the best way.
Republicans in South Carolina. Yeah, I mean, well, it does make sense because I mean, like again, in this one, the primary doesn't matter for Democrats. Is there
Mhm.
anybody else even on the ballot?
Um, there are for some of the local offices.
Oh, we didn't even have any local primaries this time.
Well, our governor and lieutenant governor are running.
Oh, those are always fun.
Mhm.
So, all right, well, let's get started. Shall we pray? We thank you, God, for this time together. We thank you for these people who have joined us today, and those who will watch later. We ask that this time may be a time of learning, of understanding, and of curiosity. In Jesus' name, Amen.
It said live streaming instead of taping.
Oh,
Or
well, no,
instead of recording.
I usually live stream it.
Oh,
It's
okay.
always live streamed on YouTube, and it records it.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I always live stream it on YouTube.
Okay.
And here's Mr. Hugh.
How is Robin while you're waiting on Hugh?
She's doing good today.
Good.
But it's also what, 2 days before her next treatment. So
That's always good.
yeah, I mean, for anybody who, well, I mean, I guess unless the cancer's winning, but for most people going through chemo, it's bad right after, and then the closer you get to the next treatment, the better you feel, and then it starts the process over again. Although she hasn't felt horrible at all. She has, the only days of work that she has missed have been on days she's had appointments and treatments. Which she said it surprises her doctor, but she's like, well, I'm not just gonna sit around and do nothing. And she was late one day because she overslept. But that's it. Which I mean, that happens even without chemo. So, I mean, I think she's doing pretty well. I mean, she's pulling off the headdress thing really well. So, you know, she's matching it with her outfits, and so that looks good. Oh, Hugh, I need to tell you, I will not be in the meeting. The storytelling thing, I'm gonna have to watch it later because we have a meeting with the bishop today at 1.
Yeah, I got a funeral this afternoon too, so I won't be there. Bob's out of town too, isn't he? Bob
Yeah, I
Platt.
think Bob's out of town, and so yeah, I'll maybe I'll just send an email out and say, hey, we'll watch it together if y'all want. But I mean, it's the last one, because it's only 2 parts. But like I said, we don't. I mean, there's this. It's this coffee with the synod thing that they're doing for roster leaders, and they want us to go. So I'll do it. I just have to drive all the way to Irmo to do it, which is funny because it's a conference. It's for our conference, and our conference is not in Irmo. But we don't have any coffee places around here.
That'd be a good scenic trip for you.
Yeah. I'll see the lake. All right. So let's look at Psalm 36. It's a short one, which makes up for the next one. Okay. Human wickedness and divine goodness. To the leader of David, the servant of the Lord. Transgression speaks to the wicked deep in their hearts. There is no fear of God before their eyes, for they flatter themselves in their own eyes that their iniquity cannot be found out, and hatred.
Hated.
Oh, thank you. And hated. The words of their mouths are mischief and deceit. They have ceased to act wisely and do good. They plot mischief while they're on their beds. They are set on a way that is not good. They do not reject evil. Your steadfast love, O Lord, extends to the heavens, your faithfulness to the clouds. Your righteousness is like the mighty mountains. Your judgments are like the great deep. You save humans and animals alike, O Lord. How precious is your steadfast love, O God. All people may take refuge in the shadow of your wings. They feast on the abundance of your house, and you give them drink from the river of your delights. For with you is the fountain of life. In your light, we see light. Oh, continue your steadfast love to those who know you, and your salvation to the upright of heart. Do not let the foot of the arrogant tread on me, or the hand of the wicked drive me away. There the evildoers lie prostrate. They are thrust down, unable to rise. All right, read through that one real quick, and we'll chat about it. All right, y'all ready?
However,
Okay, so what jumps out at you in this passage?
I love the plotting of the evil ones. I can just imagine them as they're doing it.
Yeah, they're lying on their bed. They plot mischief while lying on their beds. You can just think.
That's exactly what I said, Stephen.
And so the verse 1 starts out, it says transgression speaks. The literal translation is an oracle of the transgression to the wicked. So basically transgression is speaking this. There is no fear of God before their eyes. They flatter themselves with their own eyes, that their iniquity cannot be found out or hated. So basically their evil is, they think they're not going to get caught, just like every criminal out there. And they need to, criminals need to listen and watch true crime stuff to realize that most of the time they're going to get caught. Because most people are not as smart as they think they are. And all you got to do is sneeze while you're there and you're caught. A drop of sweat comes from your forehead, you're caught. Your cell phone pings a tower, you're caught. But they flatter themselves with their own eyes. They think they'll get away with it. The words of their mouths are of mischief and deceit. They have ceased to act wisely and do good. They've lost their minds. A soldier once told me, who worked in special ops, he once said that, he killed people. That's the downside of the job. And he said that anyone who kills anyone is temporarily insane when they do it. Because you can't sit there and think about what's happening, what you're doing at that time. And so it's that kind of thing. And then in 5, it shifts completely, that how big God's love is, and to save humans and animals alike. And it goes to the steadfastness of God's love, and how great God's love is. And then it shifts again. The evildoers lie prostrate; they are thrust down, unable to rise. So you've got the evil over here, and then it talks about the goodness and greatness of God, and then it basically shifts to, don't let the foot of the arrogant tread on me, and the hand of the wicked drive me away. There, the evildoers lie prostrate, and prostrate. I never get that right. Prostrate's something different. They are thrust down, unable to rise. So, that's this song. It talks about the evildoers, it talks about the greatness of God, and then it sort of comes to a close. Because what this is sort of a lead in to the much longer Psalm 37. Yes, ma'am.
I love that he saves humans and animals alike. You don't usually see him talking about the animals and the humans both being saved.
Well, I mean, and it is interesting because I mean there are theologians out there that are like, no, animals are not. I mean, there's not dogs in heaven. Maybe not your dog. Maybe not always my dog.
Charlie's going to have to improve.
Oh no, Charlie's good. Charlie's good.
Okay.
Charlie was always happy. He was just grumpy at times.
Okay.
I mean, Charlie had more personality than any dog I've ever had. He was like a little human, and he ran everywhere he went and was excited until he wasn't. And sometimes he just didn't want to be messed with. That's the Chiweenie in him. He just no. And now we have the cutest dog ever, who like is just chews up everything in sight and pees on everything and poops on everything, and it's great. Every one of them's different. I'll be okay if I don't have another one ever. I've always said that. But anyway, so we roll into Psalm 37. Like I said, it's a long one. It's 40 verses. I think it's 40. Is that right? Yep, 40 verses long. So get comfortable. We're going to read this one. Psalm 37, exhortation to patience and trust of David. Do not fret because of the wicked. Do not be envious of wrongdoers, for they will soon fade like the grass and wither like the green herb. Trust in the Lord and do good, so you will live in the land and enjoy security. Take delight in the Lord, and he will give you the desires of your heart. Commit your way to the Lord, trust in him, and he will act. He will make your vindication shine like the light, and the injustice of your cause like the noonday. Be still before the Lord and wait patiently for him. Do not fret over those who prosper in their way, over those who carry out evil devices. Refrain from anger and forsake wrath. Do not fret, it leads only to evil. For the wicked shall be cut off, but those who wait for the Lord shall inherit the land. Yet a little while, and the wicked will be no more. Though you look diligently for their place, they will not be there. But the meek shall inherit the land and delight themselves in abundant prosperity. The wicked plot against the righteous and gnash their teeth at them, but the Lord laughs at the wicked, for he sees that their day is coming. The wicked draw the sword and bend their bows to bring down the poor and needy, to kill those who walk uprightly. Their sword shall enter their own heart, and their bows shall be broken. Better is a little that the righteous person has than the abundance of many wicked. For the arms of the wicked shall be broken, but the Lord upholds the righteous. The Lord knows the days of the blameless, and their heritage will abide forever. They are not put to shame in evil times. In the days of famine, they have abundance. The wicked borrow and do not pay back, but the righteous are generous and keep giving. For those blessed by the Lord shall inherit the land, but those cursed by him shall be cut off. Our steps are made firm by the Lord when he delights in our way. Though we stumble, we shall not fall headlong, for the Lord holds us by the hand. I have been young and now am old, yet I have not seen the righteous forsaken or their children begging bread. They are ever giving liberally and lending, and their children become a blessing. Depart from evil and do good, so you shall abide forever. For the Lord loves justice. He will not forsake his faithful ones. The righteous shall be kept safe forever, but the children of the wicked shall be cut off. The righteous shall inherit the land and live forever. The mouths of the righteous utter wisdom, and their tongues speak justice. The law of their God is in their hearts. Their steps do not slip. The wicked watch for the righteous and seek to kill them. The Lord will not abandon them to their power or let them be condemned when they are brought to trial. Wait for the Lord and keep to his way, and he will exalt you to inherit the land. You will look for the destruction. You will look on the destruction of the wicked. I have seen the wicked oppressing and towering like a cedar of Lebanon. Again I passed by, and they were no more. Though I sought them, they could not be found. Mark the blameless and behold the upright, for there is posterity for the peaceable. But transgressors shall be altogether destroyed. The posterity of the wicked shall be cut off. The salvation of the righteous is from the Lord. He is their refuge in the time of trouble. The Lord helps them and rescues them. He rescues them from the wicked and saves them because they take refuge in him. All right, y'all read through that for a little bit, and then we will chat about it. Okay, let's dig into this lengthy psalm. First of all, this is, and I did not post it this way because it just takes forever to do it, but it is another acrostic poem, where it goes through the Hebrew alphabet. This one, however, unlike some of the other ones, is a lot more, I mean, it actually flows. You know, there's a definite theme that this one is, and you see how it goes from 36 to 37, still talking about the wicked. And so what did you hear in this?
That the wicked get their just and due rewards.
Yo,
And we shouldn't worry about if they do succeed for a while, because in the end, they're going to get what they deserve.
Yeah.
yeah,
So-
they'll get theirs.
Right.
And you know, that is just an interesting, like, it's an interesting turn of events. While everything, I mean, don't be jealous of them,
Right.
because it ain't gonna last.
Yeah.
You know, they'll God loves justice.
Yeah.
They'll
Yeah.
get what they deserve.
Yeah. Don't worry about it. Don't be angry because of what they're having right now, because it will not end that way.
Yeah, for you to have, for the righteous to have a little bit is more than an abundance to many wicked. And, you know, that I like that phrase. The wicked draw back their swords and bend their bows to bring down the poor and the needy. Their sword enters their own heart, and their bows shall be broken.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't have guns, but that's a backfire. You know,
Mm-hmm.
And so this is written like Proverbs.
Yeah, it is.
If you recall, although it is much more, again, it flows, because Proverbs would be like every two verses, it usually went to something completely different. Whereas here, they're all sort of, they all deal with the same kind of thing. Don't be bad, be good. Don't be wicked, be righteous. You know, yet a little while and the wicked will be no more. You'll look for them, but they ain't gonna be there. Now the meek shall inherit the land. Sound familiar?
Yep.
Mhm.
The meek inherit the earth.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Jesus might have repeated that. But also pay close attention to the whole concept of what the reward is here. It is the land. It is, you know, the place that God brought to them, which is different for, I mean, as Christians, we think more of eternal life. You know, that is the ultimate reward. For the Jews, at least in that time, it was very much the prize is the land.
The promised land.
The promised land, which again, we talked about this in here before, but it goes back to that. Says a lot of what's going on in Israel right now. That's why there is this feeling of ownership. You know, God gave us this. Long before you were here, this was ours. And then the Palestinians are like, we lived here, and then we kind of got kicked out because, you know, the UN, and you know, we were here. And when, you know, you can kind of see both of them, but, you know, then there's people like me that are like, well, first of all, to the Jews, you weren't personally there, and to the Palestinians, you weren't personally kicked out. I mean, you know,
Let's see what we can do.
Yeah, just can't we all just get along? You know, maybe be friends. And I mean, you know, none of the people that lived there kicked them out. I mean, But that's making things way too simplistic. Which, we have those same kind of arguments here in the United States over different things. So Native Americans, African Americans, history goes deep. And so it's easy for me, a white guy, to just say, why don't y'all just suck it up? But it may not be quite so easy to do that. But especially, like, getting back to the Jews, the righteous will inherit the land. So they're feeling, we've done our part, it's ours. And so I would be very surprised if the synagogues in Jerusalem and all of Israel right now were not just, this week, once again, we're going to be preaching from the Psalms. Because this would tell them everything that they need. But again, this is why it is such a big deal for the Jewish people, and not just Israelis. That's why the Jews in the United States are upset about this. Look, my people are from Germany. If Germany was attacked, I'm not going to take it personally. This is different. This is not just a country. This is the land. Now the question is that I guess they would have to continually ask themselves is, when they were thrust out of the land throughout their history over and over and over again, why were they kicked out of their land?
Because they weren't faithful.
Right. So question is, are they being faithful now? And is God telling them? Because before, when it was time for them to fight, God said, it's time to fight. Go get your land. And then when they disobeyed, they got their butt kicked. So it's that continuous, be righteous and you're fine. Don't be righteous and you're not. And I've said this throughout our time with Psalms, is how do you know? How do you know you're on the right side? Because you think you are? Wouldn't the wicked think that they were on the right side?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And so it's also this continuum, which is why we do what we're doing right here, which is why we go to church, which is why, it's that constant holding the mirror up to examine ourselves, to say, hey, how am I doing? Am I doing right? Am I doing what's faithful? These are the many arguments that we have, in the church. When you have two split sides of, am I doing what's right? Am I doing what's faithful? I find it very ironic right now, although I've been very impressed. I talked on Sunday about the seminary moving. And for the most part, my colleagues have been, they're not happy. They're like, yay, it's heartbreaking, but at the same time, they've been very understanding that this is what needs to happen. I've seen very few saying that, how dare they do this kind of thing. In fact, I haven't really seen any that say that, but I wouldn't have been surprised because, which would have been very ironic, because Southern Seminary has created rostered leaders who go out and continually go into other people's sacred space. They are called to lead other people's sacred space and change them in order to move them forward. Because if you're not moving forward, you're moving backwards, because there's no such thing as standing still in this world. And so the changes, I mean, look, the arguments that we produce because of us, because we feel we're being faithful and moving the church forward, it produces change. And the people who are upset believe they're being faithful because they're protecting the way it's always been. So it's not always that easy. What's faithful? And the reality is, we look at things from our own perspective, from our own standpoint. I mean, look, that's why politics are so nasty, because we can't see why someone else would think the way they think. Why can't they see this moron for what he's worth? I mean, he's too old. And by the way, I can say that because that's both of them. We have all these complaints. I mean, you have our sitting president who can't figure out who's dead and alive and greets dead people to functions. And then you've got the former president and who's running against him, who can't remember who he's running against because he keeps throwing Obama's name in there somewhere about what Obama's doing in Israel. I don't think he's doing much anything in Israel right now. And so great. That's the best we got. Let's go with it. But they both think that they're right, and their followers both think that they're right and the other person is wrong, because that's, what mirror are they holding up? And the mirror that we hold up is the law. That's what we hold up. As Christians, we hold that mirror up of the law, but it is also colored by grace and love. Which, our mirror looks a little bit different, because the law isn't always so black and white. Now, is it? How many churches out there are beating the drum of Leviticus against gay people because it says in Leviticus to do this, while they enjoy a nice bacon, a nice bacon breakfast or a barbecue sandwich, which, by the way, is also condemned in the book of Leviticus. Or they're getting a new tattoo, which is condemned in the book of Leviticus. There's all kinds of things that are condemned in the book of Leviticus. And if we try to hold ourselves up to that, we are doomed. So what is it that what is that mirror that we hold up? And that mirror, in my opinion, love God, love your neighbor, love yourself.
Yep.
If you're hitting all three of those, you're doing good. It's not as easy as it sounds.
Nope.
Because sometimes you ain't happy with you. Sometimes we're not being faithful to God. And sometimes those people out there are really hard to love. But that's that mirror of being faithful. And, as we see the people who are not loving God, loving their neighbors, and loving themselves, we will see, according to this, they'll be gone. It makes you wonder, as you look at growing churches throughout the landscape of this country. Many of them are very conservative, and not politically, religiously conservative. things that we're just like, and they're booming. And then we're like, well, we're just trying to love people here. We're just trying to accept people. What's going on? Well, this one kind of gives us hope now, doesn't it?
Yep.
Because, maybe just maybe that kind of theology won't last. And we'll actually turn around and love people.
I keep hoping.
Well, we all do. We all do. I learned a new word in this. Posterity. Does anybody know what posterity means?
People from the past?
No, actually, it's people from the future.
Oh.
It is
I did
future
not know.
generations. I had to look it up because it looks a whole lot like prosperity, but it's not. It's posterity. And I was like, what? I don't think I know what that means. And so I looked it up, and it's future generations. And so if you look in 37 and 38, mark the blameless and behold the upright, for there is posterity for the peaceable, future generations for the peaceable. But transgressors shall be altogether destroyed. The future generations of the wicked shall be cut off. And cut off is cut off from the land. So, and that's not a big Jesus word. That's just a big word that they chose to use in the NRSV. What did they use in the NIV for that?
It says there is a future for the man of peace. Consider the blameless, observe the upright. There is a future for the man of peace, but all sinners will be destroyed. The future of the wicked will be cut off.
It's interesting they use sinners instead of transgressors.
Mm-hmm.
Also, it always catches me when I have because the NRSV, which we've been using since, I don't know, the late 80s, takes the masculine language out of those things. It's strange when you hear it used anymore. And oh, by the way, you may not be aware of this, or I may have told you this. There's a new NRSV coming out.
Mhm.
Yeah, have I talked
I've got
about
it. I've got it on my phone.
Yeah, I got it too, which likely means that we will be shifting the text that we use in church before too long.
Marty,
Go ahead.
who did the notes for one of the books in the Old Testament,
Amos, I'm guessing.
I think it was, is being asked to rewrite her notes based on the new translation.
For like which thing, like was that in the Lutheran Bible that she did
The Lutheran Study Bible.
the Lutheran Study Bible? She did the notes for that.
She did notes, and I think you're right. I think it was Amos, but I'm not sure. It was one of the Old Testament books because she's an Old Testament scholar.
Yeah.
But she said that she had been asked to review her notes in view of the New York, the updated translation.
So that's pretty cool. And just think, y'all, she taught us a Bible study.
Mm-hmm.
Who knew that y'all are being taught by somebody who actually wrote in the Bible? Well, in a Bible, not all of them. Like she didn't write Amos. She just wrote about it. Or, I mean, I don't have mine handy. Oh, there it is.
Does it tell what books each one of them
Oh, I'm sure.
did?
I'm sure it does. Let's see where. They're in the front or the back.
It doesn't tell in the front. I mean, I'm looking at the book of Amos, and it doesn't say who.
Peter Nash. Are you sure it's the Lutheran Study Bible?
Yes.
Because I'm not seeing her listed at all.
Huh. I thought it was the Lutheran Study Bible that she worked in. Maybe I'm wrong, but because of the update, she is
Auntie
being
Lutheran
asked.
did. Oh no, she did Hosea.
Okay.
Yeah. And basically, looking through all this, Wayne Kennedy did 1st, 2nd, and 3rd John. Yeah, this is kind of neat because you see a lot of people who, like seminary professors, that some of them that I had, and a lot of the ones that I've heard of, like my Old Testament professor did one. Rolf Jacobson did Psalms, and I've heard him speak. I mean, so that's pretty cool. But anyway, so, but there's a new version coming out, and it's supposed to like do even more with the masculine language. I'm wondering if it takes the masculine language away from God. Which, if it does, I really hope that it does something more original than just saying God every time.
I don't know where I could look to see.
Okay,
that.
yeah, you can. Here's one right here. Go to Psalm 37, where we are.
Okay.
Verse 39.
Verse 39. Okay. Verse 39. The salvation of the righteous is from the Lord. He is their refuge and in the time of trouble. No, they did not.
Yeah, that's exactly the same.
Yeah, they did not change that.
Well, I'm kind of glad of that. In seminary, they kind of did it when I was there, but it really got stricter moving forward. It was about people, like you could not refer to God like in your papers and stuff. The masculine language for God, they wanted to get rid of. And so younger pastors, a lot of times you will hear them like in their sermons and stuff, they'll never refer to God as he. I had a professor who did say that he said, I'm okay with it because God defines the pronoun, not the pronoun. The pronoun doesn't define God. So calling God he doesn't make God male any more than calling God she makes God a female. But it sure does sound nicer to use a pronoun. I don't care if somebody just refers to God as she the whole time. That's fine, because it just sounds horrible to go God, God's self, God's own, God. I mean, it's clunky. And if I'm going to do it, I'm going to call God different names. God, the Lord, Christ, the Almighty, the Creator. But no, people just go with God. And that just annoys the crap out of me. Things should sound good, especially if you're writing or if you're preaching. They need to sound good. Otherwise, people will hate it. That's my lesson for today. Does anybody else have anything they want to add to the discussion on Psalm 37? We have 2 more weeks of the Psalms, because we will finish book 1 of Psalms. And so we'll probably go on to something else, because otherwise we will do the book of Psalms for years. And so we'll probably come back to Psalms and do like book 2 and then book 3. But in the meantime, we can we'll go to something else. And then we'll move forward from there. So anybody have anything else before we move on for today? All right. Well, y'all have a great day, and I will see y'all soon, one way or another. Bye.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.